Elijah was a very zealous man. He was a man who stood before the Lord. For 3 years there was no rain until the time when he said. So God had given the rain under the control of Elijah. The reason why Elijah was so down because he couldn't believe the Lord in this area. They killed all the prophets of God and I'm the only one left. If God did not protect those prophets, how is He going to protect me? Once again, I welcome you all for this series of Searching the Truth. Elijah, like when Jezebel said, I will, tomorrow by now, your head will not be on your shoulders. It's like Elijah wanted God to just tear her then and there itself. Tear everything apart. How dare you speak to my servant like this? He wanted God to intercede over there, come immediately over there and do something to her. But nothing happened. God allowed her to talk to me. She threatened me. He wanted something to happen. That was the anger of Elijah. But he had so much of anger and frustration, but he could not do anything. And nothing happened to her. And that was a sound, that was a voice running inside the mind of Elijah. Secondly, there came an earthquake, which is also a voice which was running in the head of Elijah. He wanted the earth to split, and God should just pull him down inside. Pull Jezebel inside. How it happened in the time of Moses. Just like how it happened in the time of Moses. But I want to tell you, this is also a voice which runs in our mind. When things goes against us, when things are not happening as how we wanted it to happen. This is what each and every one of us wants to do, wants God to do something. There was another voice which was from the fire. And again, Elijah was seeking the fire, voice of God from the fire, because he is a man who brings fire from the heaven. And this time, he couldn't bring the fire down from the heaven. Among the prophets of Baal, he was able to bring fire. Now he was not able to do that. He didn't have the strength to do that. Now he was trying, okay, maybe God is going to bring fire. All these voices were running inside the mind of Elijah. But God was not in those voices. And then came the still small voice. And Elijah heard it. God had to break every voice which was there inside the head of Elijah so that he could speak to Elijah. God could only ask him a question. Why are you here? What are you doing here? But God could not reply Elijah because there was so much of voice inside of him that God could not speak to him after that. So he didn't give him that answer, but he kept on asking him again and again, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? And he began to give the same reply again and again and again and again. And God had to break those voices. And then came the still small voice, and Elijah heard it. And when he heard it, there are many things which the Lord told him, out of which, when Elijah said, I'm the only one left, God told him, no, there are still 7,000 left who did not bow to the idols of Baal. That is amazing. Elijah thought he was the only one left, but there were 7,000 left. We don't know. That's why I told you, we don't know the story behind the scene. There is a story which is behind the scene. We need to understand. We need to realize that. And we need to start seeing or listening to the still small voice. There may be so many voices in our hearts, but let the voice of God intercede. There is a voice which you need to listen. With so many voices, you will not be able to listen. God had to break those barriers to speak to you. Today, how is your heart? If you see the life of Elijah before meeting the Lord and Elijah after meeting the Lord. Now, after this, Elijah's conversation would be very little. He will not speak much. Until he is taken by the fire. Before that, he will be challenging them, making fun of the gods. Saying, "Well, where is your God? He's gone to sleep. Maybe he's relaxing. Where is he?" But after that, he would have had so much of confidence inside of him that he knew God. He knew God in a way he had never known before. He knew God in a different way, and that made him so confident and so relaxed and so peace. He was never triggered by anybody or anything. Because he knew God has a unique plan for him. Today I tell you, you have a hope. You have a promise. God has a unique plan for you and for me. The one who listens to the voice of God, the still small voice. Even Jesus, when he was hungry, the devil came to tempt him and say, "Why don't you turn the stone into bread and eat?" Jesus said, "Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth from the mouth of God." Is it awesome? Still small voice. But Jesus was in a desperate situation, hungry and wanted to eat. But still Jesus chose to listen to the still small voice of God. Today, this is a lesson we need to learn. There is an inner voice, the still small voice which keeps inside of us, that sounds from inside our heart. And Elijah went and stood before the Lord. God has never forsaken you. God has never rejected you. God has never dishonored you. He is the lifter of your head. He will bless you. He will be with you. Don't look at the situation. May the Lord bless this word for you. Thank you.